Kaya, Kaya. Welcome, everybody. First, let us acknowledge, I'm sure you've gone through Walk into Country, have you?
I've done an acknowledgement and
Yeah.
we had Bernice on country on Monday.
Okay. Rightio. Okay, well, let's reaffirm our acknowledgement that where we stand today, that this is Noongar Menang country, Noongar Budja. And it's great to see everyone here. Look, it's wonderful to grab this opportunity to be able to talk about what are the partnerships with Wagyl, Kaip and Landcare management. What I wanted to do is to provide some background to what is Wagyl Kaip. What is this partnership? Who are these people and all of that? So that's me there, as you can see. I've been working with this native title issue since 1989. And that was when a QC called Paul Seaman got involved. I think it was after the Gough Whitlam, pouring sand into the land, the hand of the traditional owners up there. And from there was this movement about Aboriginal people reasserting and reclaiming their connection to land for cultural reasons, not for monetisation or anything like that. It was just for cultural reasons. And from there, it just kept moving. And so Paul Seaman, QC, did a tour of the whole of Australia. And he came here to Albany, and I was working with them then, literally just identifying land, giving statements, connecting to networks and all of that. So that was back in 1989. Since then, we had the High Court decision about the Mabo Islands, and it just kept moving, but everything was stale. It just really wasn't moving. There was too much political baggage, and people really, the government had to work out where did this leave the government if they were to, legislate for native title. There was no such thing, I guess, as native title. But anyway, so then what happened then, back in 1992, a group established themselves as the Noongar Land Council. And what they did as part of that is every family group, which is a traditional model, every family group put in their claim. And there was something like 50 claims. The federal government could not work that out because there were some overlapping claims, because in a Noongar way of, there is no boundary. There's a merging of everything. Like my connection goes from Walpole to Israelite Bay. There is no boundary. It's the merging of stories, lands, flora, fauna, all of that. And so the federal government could not work out what it was. And they told us to go away and look at another model. So what happened then, and I think this was very brave, and I always honour these our people, they got together and got what they said was the single Noongar claim. Let us all put in for one claim. That was very, very brave because, as you said, we're very territorial in sense of conservation, protocols, cultural practices. And to be able to put in a single Noongar claim that says, I can go up to Ewart country, which is up near Geraldton, and get involved in their business, which is not Noongar way of doing things. So it was very brave of our people to do that. However, once everything got going around about 2000, we had the single Noongar claim registered, but the West Australian government wanted Perth Metro excised from that claim and to set it aside to see if that was eligible for a claim. We won it. It was the first native title in the world that won native title over a city. It was incredible. Everybody was on edge because, my goodness, London could go, Vancouver could go, New York could go, that sort of a thing. So then there was still some political wrangling to do. In the end, the state government under Colin Barnett, and I've said this openly too, I admire that man for his bravery. He said, enough is enough. Let's get down and settle this. How about if we offer you a settlement deal? We said, great. And I've been involved in all that process. Because under native title, we really would not have got much. Native title is just a right to access land to carry out your cultural activities. Now, most of West Australia is freehold land or under Crown land management. So native title really wouldn't have suited us, but this settlement offer was great. I was one of the ministerial appointments to work for, that was in 2010 to 2015. For 5 years, I was part of a 12-man, I was the only woman, 12-man negotiating team. And we negotiated the settlement package. We wanted 2 loaves of bread. We got 3 loaves. We got 3/4 of a loaf. So that's kind of the picture to this native title. What I want to show you now, hopefully, is that what happens? I press the button and nothing happens. Sorry? Oh, okay. So let me take you through to the single Noongar claim now. I think it's great.
In 1992, the notion of terra nullius was rejected by the High Court of Australia in the Mabo decision. And the following year, the federal government passed the Native Title Act. However, the process was stacked against the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, who had to provide evidence and proof of their connection to country in court cases that were often aggressive and based on Wagyl rules. Despite these odds, 78 different individual family claims throughout the southwest of WA were lodged with the National Native Title Tribunal in 1997. Managing all of these claims was nearly impossible due to funding and resourcing challenges. It was seen as unfair that only some of these claims would succeed, while many others would fail simply due to lack of legal resources. Eventually, most of these claims were withdrawn and replaced by 6 composite claims. During this time, informal support for a single Noongar claim began to spread. Meetings in support of the SNC began throughout the southwest under the Noongar Land Council. In 2002, the Noongar Land Council was replaced by SWALSC as the native title representative body representing all Noongar people. In 2003, the SNC was lodged with the federal court over the same area as the 6 composite claims, which also remained in place. The WA government refused to negotiate with SWALSC and took the Noongar claims to the federal court. The government denied the existence of a single Noongar people with a continued connection to the southwest. In 2006, Justice Wilcox found that native title could potentially exist in and around Perth. This was the first time such a finding was applied to an Australian capital city. Justice Wilcox found that the Noongar people had successfully demonstrated that a system of Noongar law, customs and culture existed at sovereignty and continues to exist to this day, an essential requirement to obtain a native title determination. However, in 2008, the full federal court decided there were some technical concerns with the Wilcox finding. So both parties, SWALSC and the Western Australian Government, agreed to negotiate constructively rather than continue with litigation. This led to a settlement that would properly recognise Noongar connection to the land and their right to the benefits that flow. The state of WA formally recognised the Noongar people's continued connection to the land in an Act of Parliament, acknowledging that, since time immemorial, the Noongar people have inhabited lands in the southwest of the state. These lands, the Noongar people call Noongar Budja, Noongar lands. Noongar Budja, Noongar lands. The Noongar people are the traditional owners of Noongar Budja and hold cultural responsibilities and rights in relation to Noongar Budja. The Noongar people have continued to have a living relationship with Noongar Budja that is linked to culture, spirit, family and community. The Noongar people have made, are making and will continue to make a significant and unique contribution to the heritage, cultural identity, community and prosperity of our state and Noongar Budja.
Nana kort mort nijibarangin Noongar Budja. Nana ka mort kwamba. Jinang nichimangat kora. Nana ka mort yiri yagin kwamba Noongar Budja. Kora nija berdawan. Nana ka kort mort yagin Noongar Budja. Nyiri yang kora bamin. Nana ka mort wirin bet dombring. Nuna ka kort mort, kort Budja, nijengala mort, kal Budja. Kal Budja.
Okay, hope you enjoyed that. Hope it gave you some understanding of the single Noongar claim. That is available publicly on the South West Land and Sea Council website. Just go into South West Land and Sea, just put SWALSC and it clicks on and you'll see a menu bar down the side. Just click on that, click onto Wagyl, Kaip, click onto land strategy base and everything just comes up. There's an interactive map there which we've got to see. Karina, I'm not confident. Where's Karina? Is she here? Is Karina here? Sorry? Oh, yes, please. Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, rightio. So this is the map that comes up when you go onto the site. That's all Bremer Bay there. Yeah, and the green, sorry, so there's, what's taken place is the state has gone out through local government mechanisms and identified Crown land that could be offered. Now, local government, Albany, Jerramunga, wherever, had to go through their land assets and look at what could they hand over that they could basically, give over to Noongar people. So that is the light brown colour you see there. That's the light brown. That land is available. And where's this? Oh, okay, it's supposed to be up there, isn't it? So that big green bit down the bottom there, which is Dillon Bay, that's my claim area. I'm actually a named applicant for a claimant for that area, because that's where I grew up. That's traditional land. So the brown, the khaki colour there is land on offer, and the green, so what we've got is there has been some land signed off. So the government has got what they call a tranche listing, year by year by year by year. In first year, we have been offered 113 parcels of land. That's in Noongar country, up near Geraldton and all of that. But because that land has all been freehold and extinguished as native title, most of our Crown land is down here in Wagyl Kaip area. So this discussion today is quite exciting when we talk about partnerships, because this is where all the land is that we can use. Now, we know that we don't want it turned into farmlands, that it will be used for regeneration, carbon trading, whatever. So there are some wonderful opportunities for partnership. How do I get into town blocks? Who's going to put it into town blocks for me? You can go, that's Bremer Bay there. Yeah, go into Bremer Bay and hopefully some green spots will come up. Yep. So there's one across the river, a huge tract of land across the river. Everyone familiar with Bremer Bay? Yep. But if you can go down into the town site, there should be some green ones there. Yeah. No, it should come up as green. Further down to the oyster farm, I think you'll find some green. Yeah, but the cloud is there, is it? The cloud's stopping us. There's the golf club. Keep going. Ah, there's no green. I thought there was. But that's okay. See if you can go into Wellstead. Yeah. Okay. Whoops. See all the green there, all that huge? Yeah, keep going. That's Boxwood Hill. See there, and all that river, Boxwood Hill. There's about 6 blocks there in the town. But you get the idea, I guess, without us fiddling around too much. Explore this. Have a look at it. If you're the neighbour, make it your business to get to know the knowledge about it. This could be adjoining your land. And so there's all this land available. I said this is in year 1, and already we've been offered 113 parcels of land. Of that 113, where are we? 20 parcels of land have been signed off. That's the green ones. I know there's 2 blocks in Albany town site. There are 6 blocks out at Wellstead. There are quite a few out of Jerramungup, Ongerup, Borden, Ravensthorpe, Hopetown, parcels of land. As well as the land that's coming from the settlement, there's other lands that the Noongar people have had access to. When Mabo first started off, there was when it was legislated by Paul Keating, it was put into legislation. He then realised, or the government at that time realised, that Noongar people they were displaced people, and they couldn't get back to their connection of land. And so what they provided was a funding called the Indigenous Land Corporation that allowed Noongar people to buy land close as possible to their cultural land. And that land was freehold farms, okay? And of that, we've got 6 in the Great Southern. 1 at Bremer Bay, 1 at Redburn, 1 at Many Peaks, 1 at Tamblup, 1 at Cranbrook, and where's that? I don't know. Yeah, so these lands that are there, okay? And Noongar people have established themselves on there, and they're taking part in the rural economy with that land. On top of that, since 1905, the state government of Western Australia put aside land, and I'm told mischievously that they just did a stamp all over the map of Australia and said, okay, that'll suit them. And they set it aside as an Aboriginal Land Trust. And of that, in our area, we have 12 Aboriginal Land Trust holdings. At the moment, they're just white elephants. However, they'll come across as a parcel of lands. But there's opportunities there to work. I mean, when we talk about wetlands, the one out at Redmond, anybody familiar with the land out at Redmond? Okay. There is land out there, and I was involved in helping to establish that. We couldn't do any farming or anything. It had to be all above the ground because of the wetlands. And so there's that land sitting out there. There's got to be some above the ground, whether it's strawberries or turkeys or grasshoppers or what, I don't know. But there's that land there that could be used. That's, you know, ALT just sitting there. And the sad part about Noongar people have never had the resources to be able to do some work on those lands. The one out at Redmond is very fragile because of the salinity. However, it's adjacent to the Redmond National Forest. Some terrific opportunity. I was involved in a state commission task to reevaluate all the Aboriginal Lands Trust, and the one out at Redmond was the most valuable. The rest were just stony ridges and whatnot. So there's opportunities there. Okay. As you can imagine, how's our time going? Okay, yeah, okay. We have, as part of the settlement, we signed off on an agreement called the Indigenous Land Use Agreement. How are we going to use this land? Who's going to be doing it? What is going to be the structure and all of that? So I quickly pulled out today the land-based strategy. 100 pages of legal processes. 100 pages of a 1,000-page document called the ILUA. It is so heavily bureaucratically administered, but we'll get our way through it. Us Noongar people are very patient people. But the wonderful thing is to be able to come to a session like this and talk about partnerships, because we're going to be your neighbours. We're going to be your ratepayers. And we're going to be part of your community. Okay, so was there another slide I wondered? No, that was the only three. Oh, okay. Right, so how do we get involved? How do we get involved? What do I do? Press a button or something? Okay. Where are these partnerships? How can we access them?
In 2020, WA Landcare
Do I know
Group
that voice?
Greenskills acquired a 50-hectare rural property at Tutinalap near Rocky Gully for eco-restoration, education and cultural connections. The project is part of Gondwana Link, which for 20 years has promoted an inspiring vision of restoring healthy, connected bushland from Margaret River to the Great Western Woodlands. Tutinalap lies in the heart of Gondwana Link, west of Mount Barker, between Mount Roe National Park near Walpole and the Stirling Range National Park. Greenskills is partnering with Carbon Positive Australia to plan and carry out revegetation and eco-restoration. One key goal at Tutinalap is to engage with the traditional Noongar owners and to partner with elders and ranger teams to develop cultural and employment opportunities. In August 2022, a Noongar ranger team from Tambalap, coordinated by the Noangarup Aboriginal Corporation, planted 8,000 trees and shrubs at Tutinalap. Here, Robbie Miniter provides the background to the ranger team's involvement in this revegetation project.
We look at the importance of growing trees and making sure that we're connected with local farmers, and that's what that's what this opportunity has been about, is connecting us to the local farmers and developing employment opportunities, I say. My role is to engage with local farmers and local organisations such as like we've got with carbon credits and like Gondwana Link and those sort of agencies, and to help, like I say, develop that opportunity across the board. The tree planting today helps out. We try and get over here to help out around us, planting those trees around the saline areas to help break down salinity and to make sure that we've got trees for the future. We've got a pretty proactive ranger team, and it's growing in numbers all the time. We've got they do show a lot of commitment, especially when it comes time to, finding something to do, because they do develop a lot of social dysfunction within communities. And when they see opportunity out there where the local rangers, we try and put them within their, it's like a footy team, we put them in their best positions and make sure that they get the job done. Like they find it helping their well-being by getting out here on country and help them revamp the country. So it's not only restoring the country's health, it's restoring theirs as well. My family roamed through here, especially before the times of when Noongar people were relocated to reserves and forced into this way of living. And throughout those times, I've had family that roam right away from Kendenup through to Lake Prairie all the way through to Codenup and those places, and Yuraminning just over the road here. So all my families in the past have like I say, had strong connections here. I've had grandfathers born over there at Lake Prairie. For the future, I think that's going to be an ongoing collaborative working relationship. Over the years, Gondwana has been pretty strong around the place of nature and helping develop that, bringing birds back and wildlife back. And you can see the connection between the local Noongars and that sort of that culture. So it all builds the culture. And with the crisis we have within communities now, with our mob becoming a little bit more dysfunctional, well, it's opportunities like this that Gondwana sort of provides and make sure that we're coming along with the race. We work on another project there that focuses on lakes, granite exposures, and creek lines, and it's the same as this here. Like we all focus on the well-being of the country, and that's what it's about. Over the years we've seen a lot of damage get done through taking the trees away. Well, putting them back is going to be pretty important, but whether we make that difference, is up to agencies like I say, like Gondwana, who's going to give that purpose. And given that purpose is going to make things better for the future. So I'll just say to Gondwana Link and a few other agencies out there, you're doing a magic job, a brilliant job. The more we can work together and collaboratively together, the better it'll be for the future.
I look at projects like this and I think to myself, bugger the reconciliation plans that the government's imposed on us. What this is about is actually doing it. It's about reconciliation between people, between cultures, about the merging of old and Western science. It's about reconciliation in connecting with the land, reaffirming with the spirits of the land that we're here to connect with you. So that's the last slide, is it? I remember. So with that, welcome aboard in this partnership. We've got a wonderful, exciting road ahead of us. There is so much opportunities out there for all of us to connect with this partnership. And gosh, we need the skills of Western science to help us to continue to confirm our Noongar spirituality back to the land. And look, I could stand up here and shed some tears because I feel so glad, so happy, so satisfied and so rejuvenated to talk about this in partnership with you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much for that presentation. It was fantastic. I'm just wondering, when you say land has been signed off in those green parcels or offered, I just really wonder, what does that mean for the people putting in those claims? Is it just handed, when we say handed back, what can be done?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question, I guess, because what I forgot to mention, for 12 years, everything will be held in trust, okay? And that is to allow ourselves to build up the structures and whatnot. So we've really got to build up our regional councils. We've got to go through members to run the council, so that means elections. And we've got to set up the subcommittees. There, honestly, with the committees that are coming out of it, we won't have enough Noongar people to go around because you can only sit on one committee. And this is to avoid the, takeover by power groups or things like that, because we've learnt from the government how to do it. So what will happen with that? So the land that's been signed off goes back to what we call the Noongar Budget Trust. We have a trustee, Perpetual Trust. They will hold, not Perpetual Trust, but the Noongar Budget Trust is a company on its own that eventually, after 12 years, it will be run by Noongar people. So it's an investment trust. There's also an investment count of 50 million a year that will allow us to build up our investment funds. So the land at the moment that's been signed over, it will be held by the Noongar Budget Trust. Two reasons. One is to allow us to establish ourselves and stabilise our systems, but also to protect the land that can't be sold off. So does that answer your question? Is it? Okay, right. Thank you. Look, hey, put your hand, because I'm going to need some people to fence the property and to come out and depict. Who knows about poison pulling? We've got to do some poison pulling and all those things, and trapping of the animals, so we can start looking after our wildlife and get that movement going again. So come aboard, people.